Before we continue with the analysis, I want to talk to you guys about JerseyFIFA.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that's the latest home shirts, the latest away shirts, tracksuits, or even retro kits, Jersey FIFA has a bit of everything. There really is something for everyone, so if you are interested, then make sure to use the link in the description down below and head to JerseyFIFA.com. Good morning guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we have to talk about that absolute catastrophe. What on earth happened? I'm lost for words. I am truly lost for words at the Manchester United performance that we watched last night. I'm of course talking about the 3-0 loss against Sevilla, putting United out of the Europa League. I'm speechless. I genuinely cannot believe what we watched. We're going to go through some of the things that we saw during the game, the kind of tactics from both managers, although that part will probably be quite brief. Certain individuals which just weren't good enough. There's a few of them. I'm trying to figure out where to start. It was just awful. And it really puts a season of hard work, in the Europa League. Manchester United have committed a lot of resources to this Europa League push. We've seen United strong in almost every single round of the competition. Even when they were clear against Real Betis, it was still a very strong team. And now they're out simply because the players bottled it. It really is as simple as that. The players didn't turn up. Now, the reason I say the tactics are going to be brief is because of this. Let me just get the tactics board up real quick. Hang on. Can we find it? There we go. This is something that I was saying to my brother when I was watching the game last night. We all know that under Erik ten Hag, if you give him time, he's going to have this team playing really nice football. Now, it won't be this team, but it will be Manchester United. Given time, he will make a really good team here that plays lovely football, controls games, and it's all great. However, you have to earn the right to use good tactics. You can't just turn up and have a nice system, a nice shape, whatever, some nice patterns, and you're going to win a football match. It's not the case. You have to earn the right to play nice football. These players did not earn the right to play nice football. They genuinely, all but a couple of them, should be ashamed of the level of performance that we saw in this game. Now, I'm not asking for a lot. I'm asking that a player, though, cannot walk past you. That can't happen in the middle of the pitch. It was just horrendous. In terms of energy levels, Manchester United did not look like they cared. None of the players were interested. The amount of times the midfield in particular was just walked through. Casemiro, I'm not sure what's going on with him at the moment. I don't know if it's that constant fear of being suspended. I don't know, but I'm not sure what's going on. Eriksen, Sabitzer, someone affect the game in the middle of the pitch. It was just awful. There was no tempo, there was no intensity to this team at all. Erik ten Hag was talking before the game about how Sevilla will often go long from goal kicks. He was right, and you've got to win the second ball. I can't recall United winning a second ball in this game. It was abysmal. It was absolutely abysmal. Now, we're going to come on to some of the individual errors for the goals. We have to talk about David De Gea because it was embarrassing. But it wasn't just De Gea. De Gea, for me, costs United all 3 goals, in my opinion. Okay? I'm not going to hide that, and we will discuss that goal later. I think that is the case. I think that is what happened. However, the rest of the team was still pathetic. Apart from, for me, Anthony I thought was decent. Lindelof kind of showed up. I mean, Dalot completed some passes, but it was just awful. And the midfield in particular, I was highlighting this last week about how this midfield just cannot keep the ball. And I've got some passing percentages here. We've got Casemiro on 76% passing, not good enough. Eriksen on 82%. It's not great. You can kind of afford one player that low, but you want the others then higher. And then Sabitzer, 58% pass accuracy. That gives your midfield an average of 72% pass accuracy. Now, I get it, right? Ten Hag might have said before the game, we want to play quick football, we want to go forward quickly, be quite direct, look for space in behind the fullbacks, for example. Ten Hag may have said that. That may have been a tactical approach. And we know that these players do like to play forward quickly. Eriksen, Sabitzer, even Casemiro, they all like to do it. However, these are 3 very, very, very experienced footballers who have played European football at the highest level for a lot of years in their career now. At some point, you have to realise that you are away in Sevilla where the atmosphere was absolutely incredible from the Sevilla fans. Sevilla, therefore, because of the fans, are coming with an incredible energy, an incredible intensity. Every tackle was being cheered like it's a goal in the stadium. Slow it down. Slow the game down. Take a touch and pass it sideways and complete the pass. I'm talking very, very simple 3-yard passes. I don't care if these players are press resistant or not. It doesn't matter. Complete a 4-yard pass. It's not difficult. But every time they just go long, they hook it in behind. Slow the game down. United couldn't have managed this game any worse. At half-time, we see the change. We see Luke Shaw come on for Wan-Bissaka at left-back. We see Rashford come on for Sancho on the left wing. I'll come back on to Sancho in a second. Luke Shaw comes on, 70% pass accuracy. Anthony Martial, 69% pass accuracy. Someone keep the ball. It just didn't happen in the game, and I don't understand what's going through the minds of these players. And honestly, I think it's just nothing. I think it is, they just crumble. We've seen it time and time again this season. If United concede away from home in a hostile environment against a high-energy team, I'm talking about teams like Brentford, Liverpool, Newcastle, we've seen it time and time again all season long, Manchester City, Sevilla. This Sevilla team isn't very good. It's not that good. But the Manchester United players just completely crumbled under the pressure of the crowd, of expectation, and they have literally thrown away a season's work in Europe, in the Europa League. It was just awful. Now, in terms of the forward players, I think they deserve less criticism than the rest of the team. You know, the defence weren't very good. Well, actually, it goes deeper than that. De Gea, horrific on the ball. The defence, then not great. The midfield, literally non-existent. It makes it difficult for the forwards to get the ball. But when Sancho was on the pitch, for example, you've got to make something happen when you get the ball. Martial done a couple of nice bits of link play. He kind of kept the ball reasonably well at times, although still his pass success was too low. Anthony, I thought, actually looked quite bright on the right wing. He was taking on his man, looking good. He looked like the one player which actually cared. If Sancho on the left-hand side could show the same amount of care as what Anthony does, it would be great. I want to talk to you about an amazing tool to help you become a more composed and confident footballer. Be Your Best is football training in virtual reality. Developed by experts in Norway, it's the perfect way to improve cognitive performance, improving scanning, decision making and memory from anywhere in the world. In Be Your Best, you will go through over 800 scenarios recreated from professional games. A bit like this one from Luka Modric. You'll play from his point of view and receive feedback for your performance along the way. Be Your Best is used by athletes from all around the world, with Arsenal star Martin Odegaard using it in his return from injury, and it's also backed by science, with a recent 9-week study seeing players increase their scan rate by a staggering 28%, and now you can get 20% off your first month or year by using code HUB20 at checkout, so make sure to use BeYourBest.com or use the link in the description. Now, I get it, right? This system, this kind of game, does not suit Sancho at all. Sancho is a player which wants to play in a high territory, a high control team, which sustains pressure and he has runners around him. He isn't a player which wants to play in transition, so those midfielders constantly hooking the ball forward does not help him. However, the case is the same for Anthony. This doesn't suit Anthony either, but the application from Anthony is just completely different to Jadon Sancho. Anthony looks desperate to try and do better. Sancho doesn't give me that vibe. I don't really know what to say about him, because he started the last 5 games in a row now. He's had a chance in the team. I dare say he'll start again at the weekend, and he probably should, because I don't have too many better options, depending on, the severity of the Martial injury, for example. But make an impact. Do something. Take on your fullback. Show a bit of intensity. There's a situation where Sevilla win the ball back in their right-back area against Jadon Sancho, and the player who wins the ball back runs all the way up the pitch and ends up getting the shot off. Sancho doesn't get close to him all the way. Now, we can talk about confidence, we can talk about a system suiting a player, a team structure, whatever. You can't let the opposition work harder than you. That is unforgivable. That is entirely on Sancho. And there was too many players which were like that in this game. It was so easy for Sevilla. I thought Sevilla were good. They were really good. They were crisp on the ball. They got technical players like Rakitic who keep the ball in tight spaces really, really very well. But they didn't have to be great, because they just walked through the midfield. You've got the United midfield. Every time the ball goes into this area, everyone runs. Anthony runs, Sancho runs, Martial comes into this area, the midfielders push nice and high, the ball goes long, it's poor, it gets overturned, and then the Sevilla midfield basically pick the ball up here and just walk forward. Casemiro, Eriksen, Sabitzer, nowhere to be seen. Protect your defenders. I cannot get my head around the performance that we saw. Now, if you had shown me that this was a bunch of 15-year-olds playing this game, I'd go, yeah, fair enough, they're a bit inexperienced, they got put under pressure, and they didn't know how to cope with it. These are experienced footballers. This midfield, look at the experience, the minutes played in Europe, Europe's top 5 leagues, the Champions League, the highest level. Look at the minutes that they would have played in their career. They just were non-existent, and You know, on the channel, we like to try and put the tactics behind kind of performances, talk about little tweaks which we see in a game, and really analyse things. Break it down. Are the fullbacks playing in this position? How is the opposition countering that? Etc, etc. But like I said right at the start, you have to earn the right to use tactics. Tactics only get you so far. If your players don't play with any intensity, you are not going to win any football match. I don't care how good you are, you will not win a football match if the opposition work harder than you. It just won't happen. Not at this level, because the players are too good. Sevilla, they're not a great team, but they're still quality professional footballers here, who do deserve to be at the top level. They're very good players, who on their day and in the right moment can make something happen. You have to match or better their energy. The bare minimum is to match their energy. United just didn't do that, and I don't get it. And it really makes me worried for the weekend. I'm going to do a tactical preview literally later today on the Brighton game at the weekend. I'm not sure how United can beat that Brighton team, based on this. If the application is anywhere near the same, they'll get absolutely blown away. Absolutely demolished. Ten Hag has a problem. Because, like I've been saying kind of quite a lot over the past month, is it's not something which can easily be changed. There isn't a really good ball-playing keeper which can suddenly come into the team. We still need to go through the goals. Oh my days, I forgot about that. We still got to go through De Gea. But yeah, in terms of this weekend, there isn't suddenly a ball-playing keeper you can bring into the team. There aren't ball-playing centre-backs you can bring into the team because they're injured. There isn't a midfielder, a controlling midfielder, which you can bring into the team because the squad doesn't have one. And then, you know, the depth is a problem at the moment with injuries. The team just looks awful. Ten Hag has received criticism recently for, you know, overplaying players. This is why players play a lot of minutes, because the ones that kind of come in as backup aren't any good. They just aren't good enough for what Ten Hag wants to do. Now, again, apologies that this isn't particularly analytical. I'm not breaking anything down for you. You guys aren't learning anything new. But we didn't learn anything new last night. We've seen all this before. We have seen it time and time again over the past few seasons. And it really felt like this performance last night was the result of God knows how many years of poor recruitment, poor profiling, giving United a really jumbled up squad. There is such a big job still to be done here. Okay, so I can't delay it any longer. It's time to talk about David De Gea. And I just want to focus on one goal. I don't want to talk about all three of them because I haven't got the time to explain how poor I think it is. However, let's talk about this first goal. I think we all know what happens. We've got Harry Maguire here. The pass is going to come in from David De Gea. It's going to come in nice and slowly with absolutely no speed on the ball at all. And, I mean, quite obviously, I think we can all see it, right? I think most people who, you know, subscribe to a channel, I think most of you can see. There are three Sevilla players around him. What are these Sevilla players going to do? As soon as this ball goes in, they're going to go like this. They're going to hunt Harry Maguire down and not give him a chance. Now, do I think Maguire covers himself in glory? No, I think he received the ball poorly. I think he's flat-footed and he doesn't turn well. His body shape is wrong. He should be more on the half-turn. However, why, please tell me, why is De Gea passing this ball in here? What's he thinking? What is ever going to come of that pass? It's awful. Now, people are going to point to the fact that Harry Maguire called the ball. Where does he call it? He calls it here somewhere. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but first of all, I want to go through some other clips, because this isn't the first time we've seen it this season. For example, I'm sure you all remember this lovely day early in the season against Brentford, where this pass goes in here, and again what happens, the Brentford players hunt down the player on the ball because De Gea has played a slow pass into midfield to a player who physically cannot receive the ball in this situation. Do not give the player the ball in this situation. It is suicide. He does it, Manchester United concede as a consequence. This isn't new from De Gea. There's also been situations this season, again in the Europa League, where De Gea's done this and actually he's got away with it. Again, we can highlight the Real Betis players in this situation, and we've also got Lisandro Martinez. Now, Lisandro Martinez, for me, is maybe the best ball-playing defender in the world. I think he's absolutely incredible, and he is one of few players in the world who can receive this pass. Still, he shouldn't. He should not get this ball. If you look right at the bottom of the screen here, it might actually be behind me, but there's a player just down here, which might just be out of shot for you guys. I think you might be able to see him. That's where this ball should go. But no, it goes into Lisandro Martinez. United should concede from this, because the work that Lisandro Martinez does here is absolutely brilliant. Not many players in world football can do that. It is absolutely quality. So again, De Gea should concede here. That should be 3 goals, because the work Lisandro Martinez does is incredible. And then we got this one as well. This isn't the same situation, but again, it's the Europa League this season, and I just thought it was a funny clip, because again, De Gea is saved by his teammates, bailing him out, getting him out of jail for free. Now though, let's go back to it. Let's go back to this goal from last night. Harry Maguire, we just saw it there. He calls this ball. Harry Maguire calls for the ball. What are my thoughts on this? I have seen a lot of people saying that Maguire is equally as fault as David De Gea here because he calls for the ball. Now, to highlight, Maguire does not cover himself in glory. He receives the ball poorly, his body isn't open enough, his touch isn't good enough, his footwork is wrong. Maguire does not cover himself in glory here. However, the fact that Harry Maguire calls for the football is nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with this goal. The thing which separates players which make it as a professional footballer from those that don't is, one, of course, talent and work rate. Absolutely. Decision making. David De Gea, as far as I'm aware, is an adult. He can make his own decision. Do not talk to me about Harry Maguire called for the pass. The amount of times that you see a player call a pass in the game and they don't get it, it happens more than passes completed. It happens all the time. Players want the ball in different situations. De Gea can see the whole pitch. De Gea can see these 3 players standing right here. This is not on Harry Maguire. Like I said, the touch and stuff, yes, poor. But the whole calling for the pass thing doesn't make sense to me. And actually, for those people will use this to defend De Gea and say Maguire did call for it, so De Gea was right to pass to him. I actually have a counterpoint for you, and a kind of bit of evidence which goes against it. And actually, it's in the game last night. And I just want you to watch Victor Lindelof here. Watch his right hand. I don't think we can zoom in on it. Just watch his right hand, okay? His right hand is going to do a small little motion, which is calling for a pass. It's what it indicates, right? Pass goes in here. Now, again, what we've got is 3 Sevilla players around him. So we can all see that if he gets this ball, he's conceding. He's going to lose possession here if he receives the ball, Victor Lindelof. Got De Gea on the ball here. Victor Lindelof makes a slight motion with his right hand there. He's calling for the ball. Lindelof calls for this football. What does De Gea do? He makes his own decision. He decides that it's not the right pass, and he goes elsewhere. Do not talk to me about Harry Maguire called for the pass, because it's nonsense. Players call for passes all the time in situations where they shouldn't. David De Gea can see the whole pitch. It's the beautiful thing about being goalkeeper. It's why we often see goalkeepers which are captains of teams, because they can see the whole pitch, they can see everything in front of them. The whole picture is laid out perfectly. No one has a better view than the goalkeeper. And he chooses to play the pass, and it's just awful. It started really actually an awful night for United, but it wasn't just De Gea. The whole team was absolutely tragic. They deserved to go out. They were embarrassing. Genuinely, I think the travelling fans should have their tickets paid for, because it was fraudulent what we watched. We watched players not even move. Just run. At least work hard. At least look like you care as much, anywhere near as much as the fans do. That's what we want. Hard work, effort, intensity. We didn't see any of it. Like, the quality is a conversation for a different day. Turn up and play football. Too many games this season where the United players away from home, again in a hostile environment, have completely capitulated. Ten Hag has so much work to do. However, as I always say, it's never as good as it looks, it's never as bad as it looks. Give it a couple of games, United might be back to winning, and, the focus now has to be top 4. Like I said, I'm not too optimistic about the Brighton game, but I'm going to go cover it in a second, so subscribe for that video. Yeah, honestly, I'm done with this match. The players don't deserve any more breakdown than that. The match doesn't deserve any more breakdown, because it's just terrible. So that's all I've got to say for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. You probably haven't, because it was awful. I'll see you in the next one.